What about trucks? Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. I never seen Lincoln and the Poor Boys before. Let me just take a second so I can show skin. Here we go. Beautiful. Ushkushi. Yeah, I don't know how the notifications work at this point. Like, it used to be on YouTube. I remember it very well. Back in the early days, you would just subscribe to a channel, and then on the main page, you would get like a link to that channel, and every single video they would upload, they would notify you. But then they said, it's like, okay, like you don't want to be bombarded with notifications, even though I never mind that. And they made it like so you sometimes get the notifications, but then like people complain. So YouTube added a bell icon in order to give like users more freedom. But like now there's people who subscribe and hit the bell icon and they still don't get notified. So I don't know what it's like. But anyway, like talking about misinformation and censorship. I spoke with Sargon the other day. Usually I don't have time to, well, he doesn't have time to talk anymore. Even when I publish articles on the Lotus Eaters, like I don't talk with him. I got an editor and stuff. But we were talking about the Santa Claus conspiracy theory, because it's a very interesting and a very in-depth psychological analysis, okay? So the Santa Claus conspiracy theory is something that your parents do to you when you're a kid, right? In order to, I guess, like try to create the idea that the world is a more magical place than it is. And it's also something about Santa, which is that he rewards you if you're good and punishes you that you're bad. So it's like a little bit of a cosmic justice mythos. It's trying to, teach children that there is cosmic justice. Like even if you commit something bad and you think you're going to get away with it, like someone somewhere knows that you did something bad and it's not okay. It's really interesting. But, we were talking about it. And I was pointing out that at my kindergarten, like things got really nasty. There were a lot of fights in the playground as kids about whether or not Santa Claus is real. Like it was going to that phase where, like the kids started suspecting. And you had like the Santa Claus truthers, and then you had like the Santa Claus conspiracy theorists. And I was part of the conspiracy theorists. But like, man, I know like some of those kids, like they got really violent if you contradicted the fact that Santa Claus isn't real. Like they got really upset. I mean, friendships were broken, but like even worse, like there were fisticuffs. Like people would throw hands if you told them that Santa Claus isn't real. So, but my point with this is that what I love about the Santa Claus conspiracy theory is that it was the first conspiracy that I debunked by myself without any help. The way I debunked it was that I had a friend which lived close to me, and I asked him like, what time did Santa went to your place? And it turns out like, despite the fact that Santa would normally like just take 5 minutes from me to his place, it took him hours. Like I got my presents way earlier than him, and I was like, that's very interesting. So I started investigating, right? But I didn't manage to deconspire Santa. So like I guess like in a way, it makes people so. First of all, like it gets children to believe that there is cosmic justice. It gets them to believe that there is good and bad, and someone watches you if you do bad things. So you shouldn't do them, even if you think you can get away with it. Secondly, I guess it's kind of nice because it creates the world to be a more magical place. So, kids like that. But thirdly, it encourages children to figure the shit out for themselves. And it makes children believe that, the authority figure, which is your parents, your teachers, they can lie to you. Now, in this case, they lie to you for good reasons, right? But they can lie to you nonetheless. So it encourages children to have a critical mindset, to just like never take what you're being told 100% for granted, like the trust but verify type of thing. So yeah, I mean that's that's the interesting part. Plus, like I kind of like my parents a little bit more because like when I thought about it, was like, well, like they gave me presents without taking credit. Like every Christmas they would just give me presents, and they didn't say that it's them. So, like, I didn't like them more. I actually thought that, like, Santa is giving me those presents, but, in reality, it was the parents. So, I just wanted to talk about that. But, like, You know, you genuinely believed when you were a kid. You literally believed, like, to the point where some kids got violent if you contradicted them. And I guess, like, the belief happened because all the authority people worked in unison in order to tell you something that at some age you kind of get it's not possible. Like, you kind of understand, like, hold on a little bit. It's like, there's no chimney in my goddamn apartment. How the fuck is he breaking and entering, right? But yeah, no, so it's just like what I wanted to talk about censorship. It's a very interesting thing. Yeah, and not only that, like the censorship worked two ways because like the kids that knew, like the kids that definitely knew, were being told by the teacher and the parents not to tell the other kids. So like it was fascinating, honestly. It's a really good social study. Yeah, like fact check, literally, yes, fact check. You know, it's kind of funny. Like the idea of fact checking wasn't supposed to be like the way to discern the truth because in a free and liberal society, every single thing can have two sides of it. You know, it can be one side, but let's look at the other side. Now everything doesn't have a side anymore. It's just like fact checked. Like fact checkers used to be these people that journalists would hire in order to fact check like things that are how should I say, they don't allow for much subjectivity. So for example, if a journalist would say like the distance between New York and California is 1,300 kilometers, right? Like someone would fact check that because like that's objective reality. You can't, you know, or you know, a journalist would say something like the wrong definition of a word, right? So they had that part of uses. They were never supposed to actually like fact check, you know, like things that have multiple interpretations or whatnot. Like that's something new, and that's what authoritarian governments used to do, like what China does and other governments do that are authoritarian. I guess now it's done by the private sector. When you think about it, Santa Claus can legally enslave elves in the North Pole. Well, you know, like apparently they're magical creatures, so like they're not slaves. They love doing what they're doing. Like they're doing it because that was like the thing with the elves. And by the way, like from what I understand, initially they were black people, but then they were made elves because like, well, slavery and whatnot. But like I always got that the elves loved doing what they were doing. Like most children wanted to be an elf with Santa, you know, like like they were doing what they were doing for the joy of children. Like that was their reward, the fact that they're making children around the world happy. So that was the reward of the elf. It didn't feel like slavery. I think it's like what, like 10 or 11 elves. Like how many of them? Anyway, I'm going to yawn a lot this stream because my sleeping schedule is out of whack again. So I wanted to talk about like the most dumb thing that I have seen, and I don't think I'll ever see something this dumb again. Unfortunately, this is the dumbest take of 2021. So you got a couple of people from San Francisco. Now I can't show you the song because they're DMCA it all over the internet. But what I can do is I can read you the lyrics of the song, alright, and you guys can tell me if you think it's a great song or not, right? So the San Francisco gay man chorus is facing a backlash for the song called "The Gay Agenda." So these are the lyrics, okay? You think that we will corrupt your kids if our agenda goes unchecked? Funny, just this once, you're correct. We'll convert your children, happens bit by bit, quietly and subtly, and you will barely notice it. You can keep them from disco, warn about San Francisco, make them wear pleated pants, we don't care. We'll convert your children, we'll make them tolerant and fair. I think like this is the line that's the probably like the one that is a little bit too much for some people. We're coming for them. We are coming for your children. We're coming for them. We're coming for them. We are coming for your children. Now, in Romania, we have this saying, not even in a joke, you know, not even in jest. Like, there are some things you shouldn't joke about. You know, like, for example, joking that someone mother is a slut. You know, not even in jest. Like, you shouldn't. Because you might strain relationships. You know, this is like something you don't jest about, right? There is, I mean this literally, there is no circumstance in the entire world where you should say, we are coming for your children. No. I can't find a single hypothetical where you can say, I am coming for your kid. And it's not going to get people upset. Maybe like if your kids are taken hostage and like the FBI is on the call and they're saying, you know, don't worry about it, we're coming for your children. No, not even then. It still sounds bad. Like, there are better phrases you can use, is what I'm saying. Can anyone think of it? No, seriously, like, can anyone think of any... No, I genuinely want this. Like, we need to put our brains together. Like, there must be a situation where if you say, we're coming for your children, is acceptable. For your children? No, not even that. Is there anyone? Islam was right. No, come on. Like, help me out here. Like, I really need to think of a situation where you can say it without having the FBI knocking at your door. Santa is coming for the children. Even then it sounds fucked up. It's like... You know, like, there's something that, like, the Grinch tries to steal Christmas, and the mayor of the town is getting in touch with the elves, and the elves like, don't worry about it, we have the problem fixed, we're coming for your children. No, it's still bad. No, even vaccines, like, even with vaccines, it would still sound creepy as fuck. I think the song is awesome. It should be broadcasted 24/7. I agree. I never heard anything more interesting in my life. Like, I never heard such interesting humor. Maybe if your children are to be picked up by a taxi service, can you imagine, like, the taxi driver, like, calling you? It's like, yeah, we're coming for you. Our children are in danger. Police, we're coming for your children. Yes, okay. Okay, that is the only hypothetical. Okay, the chat has helped me find out. So, let's say you're at the zoo and your kids fall into the lion's den, and then the lion is asleep. Okay, like, the lion is still asleep. He hasn't noticed anything. So the parents are calling the police, and it's like, help, our children have fallen into the lion's den. And the police calls back like, don't worry, madam, we're coming for your children. I think it's the only hypothetical. It's like, it's such a fringe hypothetical. But I guess it exists, okay? So no, your Santa example is creepy as fuck, dude. Oh my god. A school bus. Yeah, like a school bus. Okay, fine. So another hypothetical is that... But no. Even there, right? Like, you got, like, all the parents in the room. And like, the bus driver says, it's like, yeah, we'll be coming for your children at around 6. I mean, you should add the word to pick up, right? Like, we're coming to pick up your child. If you don't add the word pick up, it sounds creepy as fuck. Right? Like, the additional context is very important. Oh yeah, ambulance responders. Okay, so yeah, ambulance responders. It's like, help. You know, my kids have been bitten by a dog, and the ambulance responder is like, "Don't worry, ma'am, we're coming for your children as soon as we can." Right? Like, okay, fine, yeah, like that. That is another one. I got two. Yeah. Like the school bus had been coming for your children at 7:30 a.m. Yeah, this is okay. So we're coming for your children at 7:30 a.m. says the school bus driver. Yeah, okay, fine. I got. Okay, so there are like the thing is like there are very few, quite narrow, I would say, situations where the word "we are coming for your children" can be used. But anything else is like one of the things you should stay away from. It's like no, bad idea, bad take. Now, apparently, on Twitter, and I have seen this transpire today, a couple of people, and I've been told they are far right. Okay, like that's the information that I got. I'm not one labeling them, but I've been told they're far right. Have looked through the registry and compared the registry with the San Francisco Gay Men Chorus, the same people that are singing the lyrics that they're coming for your. And they found an overlap, okay? I'm not saying all, but no, there was an overlap. Like a couple of individuals that were singing this, they were also on the registry, you know, like let me put it this way. How should I put it? If they were to move next to your house, you would get a knock on the door, as they would inform you that they have been on the registry. All right, like we're not talking accusations. We're not talking like someone insinuating. What I am saying is that the judge and jury has found the defendant guilty. So, as you can imagine, people on the internet were displeased by this finding. They were not very happy, to say the least. And it got the backlash to intensify. I'm not checking any video. Leave me alone. Right, so because of this, because the backlash intensified, apparently there is a backlash to the backlash. So, wait, let's see. Put it on here. Let me just clean up my Twitter feed. Make sure there's no. All right. So after privating the video, they posted something where you can't reply to the tweet, right? So I love this. It's like lock the doors, bar the windows. Okay, we need to control the narrative again. Because people would spam them with names and registries and faces, and that's not very progressive. So on July the 1st, we posted the message from the gay community, okay? Like the entire gay community, not just them, not just the chorus, okay? Not just, it's on behalf. So I assume like all the people in the community got together, voted for their representatives, and they are now carrying the word, right? Is this how it works? Activism. It was chosen because of how loved it was when we performed it live here in San Francisco. I'm telling you, like, San Francisco is a mental illness. Like, this is the problem with individuals from San Francisco, okay? It's like in that movie, The Predator, right? The Predator is going after this kid because this kid has autism, but, like, his autism allows him to think a lot better than any other human. Like, he's so forward-thinking that other humans just can't understand him, but it's like the disease is not really like something that's hampering him. It's something that's helping him. It's like a mutation, you know, and that's what the Predator wants. I'm not kidding. It's the plot of the latest Predator. And there's global warming in it as well. Like, no, you should watch, seriously, you should watch good shit. So this is like with the people in San Francisco, right? Like they're so advanced than everyone else that it's like very difficult for us normal people to understand that. That's why they call us reactionaries, right? Because like we're reacting to them. Like they're setting the trends, they're setting the thing. So in their bubble, they understand each other. In their bubble, they congratulate each other. But like when they go outside of their bubble, they deal with nonsense from reactionaries. The far right conservative media. Okay, so you think this is why it's a bubble, right? They think that only the conservatives have a problem with the song "We're Coming for Your Children." So, like the center-right conservative media has no problem with it. Centrists have no problem with that song. You know, people on the center-left are perfect. No, it's just like the far-right conservative media found the video and have taken it as their cause. You literally stated in the beginning of the video that all the fears of the conservatives are right. You literally started with that. Like, that is your best foot forward. And now you're like, oh, why do people... This has all happened in the last 24 hours and continues to pick up steam. Yeah, well, as people find registries and they do some overlaps and they don't like what they find. Yeah, I guess it's picking up steam. Yes, absolutely. They have taken the lyrics out of context to support a narrative that suits their intolerant and hateful needs. Yeah, I mean, let me put it this way. In recent years, I have never seen political correctness take something out of context. Like, I have never seen anyone getting canceled for something out of context. Never happens. You know, like, political correctness is this just and fair ideology. Like, every single time someone gets canceled, there's a trial, the person gets to defend themselves, the accusations are being brought forward, it's all on the up and up. No one got canceled for jokes ever. Like, everyone gets canceled for real shit. Yeah, no, I can see why they're upset that someone is canceling them. The comments are becoming alarming. Emails and individuals and the chorus office are vitriolic, including threats of harm. We feel that the first action we must take to keep everyone involved with the chorus and the making of this video safe is to turn the video to private. We are communicating with law enforcement both locally and nationally. We will not be threatened, and we will follow legal steps to act on those threats. We will always accept others who may hold different values, but when violence is the expression, since 1969 we have not backed down. Dude, you literally made the video private. What the fuck are you talking about? Why are you ashamed of the video? Put it up! Put it up again! After decades of children being indoctrinated and taught intolerance for anyone who is other, from using the Bible as a weapon to reparative therapy, it's our turn. We have dedicated ourselves. Oh my god! Like, dude. Like, first you're saying you're joking, and now you're saying that it's your turn to do the opposite of Bible reparative therapy. Like, if we as the world agree that reparative therapy is wrong, the solution is not to do it to them. The solution is to stop doing it. Leave the kids alone. My god. But you know, like, this is, let me show you something. Right? Like, people keep asking me. It's like, how is critical race theory prejudice? Like, why is critical race theory prejudice? Just fighting racism, right? So this is Ibram X. Kendi. It's actually one of the most prominent anti-racists, like proponents of critical race theory. And he says that the only remedy to racist discrimination is anti-racist discrimination. The only remedy to past discrimination is present discrimination. The only remedy to present discrimination is future discrimination. In other words, what they're saying is like, discrimination isn't wrong. We need to keep discriminating, right? It's just like the target of discrimination is bad. And this is exclusive to MLK, which says returning violence for violence multiplies violence, adding deeper darkness to a night already devoid of stars. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. So the motherfuckers that keep telling me that CRT is literally the same as the civil rights struggle, like I can give you a dozen quotes similar to this one, where they literally go against what the civil rights struggle was. I can even show you academics who are pissed off that the civil rights happened because they didn't want MLK to win. They wanted Malcolm X to win. Like, they wanted the violence that would bring forth the communist revolution in the United States. So they were a little butthurt when it happened with no violence. Okay? But it's literally the same concept that's applied instead of race. It's applied to sexuality. It's like, okay, so the only way to remedy past discrimination is with present discrimination. And the only way to remedy future discrimination is by doing it again in the future. It's the same concept, goddammit. Same concept. Right? And they keep saying, oh, it's a joke, it's a joke. No, it's not a joke. What the fuck are you joking about? You're dead serious. Domina is hitting Muraji. You can actually fight fire with fire, to be honest. Like, it's called controlled burning. It works. Social justice warriors get so mad when anyone mentions that MLK quote. I actually had like a social justice warrior going, oh, MLK, oh, so the guy that promotes for racial quotas, and I'm like, okay. And like, you already have racial quotas in America, and like, what is your problem? I like, there aren't that many people complaining about them, but like, to be fair, you know, like, MLK didn't have the studies at the time. Like, people like Thomas Sowell didn't exist to point out that, you know, racial quotas sound good on paper, but in practice they're not so great. You can replace racial quotas with poverty quotas. Like, give it to people that are poor and in desperate positions, because if you give it to a race, like, you might give it to someone that's actually that's wealthy. Like here's the thing with quotas, right? So you get like university quotas. The reason it's bad is because you can have like someone that gets in a place where they don't have the training to be in, and then they just fail later on. So you're not doing the person a service. The way it works in Romania is that we got a university which is sort of state-sponsored, but not really. I mean, let's say I want to go to med school, right? The way it works is they look at the grade you finished high school, and then they do the average with another grade you take at an exam after finishing high school. And if your grade is above a certain threshold, so if it's really high, then you get to do University of Medicine for free. If your grade is really low, then no, you get to pay for it. So it encourages people to study really hard at school in order to get that high grade so they can do a free university. And when you get into the university, you need to keep your grades up, because if they fall down, then you have to pay for it. So yeah. I'm going to be sad when Sowell dies. Me too. Though, to be honest, like, the only problem with Sowell is that he's very camera shy. Like, he doesn't give a lot of interviews. He doesn't, he didn't want to enter politics, which I guess maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. So yeah, now, as you can understand, as you can imagine, so I'm not like to understand. They say our second action is to work to control the narrative. I love it. I love this. It's like, oh, the narrative is out of control. We need to control it. So in order to control the narrative, this video is being illegally copied and placed on YouTube, Instagram, and other websites. Others have the right to follow fair use laws, but that is not what is happening here. Therefore, our social media and marketing staff are worried around the clock to alert moderators at YouTube, Instagram, and file the MCA. Lastly, if you receive personal communication of any kind. Yeah, so my point is like, what the fuck were they thinking? Like, at what point did they think this is a good idea? When is tongue-in-cheek humor able to bypass political correctness? Why don't they mention the fact what people are really upset about, which is the little bit of an overlap between the registry and the individuals in the song? And finally, you know, like the DMCA thing, yeah, the Streisand effect. So anyway, it's now on Fox News, as you can imagine. I guess like Fox News is a far-right website that's doing the backlash. According to the Post Millennial, the video was made private after receiving 88 likes and 5,000 dislikes. The group said it made the video private out of concern for its members' safety. How the fuck is like... I love how like the left always does this. They claim that there might be harm, and then they justify like censorship in order to prevent said harm. I guess the Tiananmen Square could have been avoided with more censorship, right? Like that's how you avoid harm, by censoring people. It is a true known fact. In a place where everyone is mute and people cannot talk with each other, there is no harm ever. So the video received pushback from conservatives. Man, this sure sounds like a cult, doesn't it? This is grotesque and unacceptable, tweeted Brigitte Gabriel of Act for America. Commentator Rahim Kassam tweeted, LGBT in 2010, no, we aren't interested in kids, you bigot. We just want to get married like you. And then LGBT in 2021, directing to the song. The performance also received praise from some. Oh, I think like it's a great performance. No, don't get me wrong. Like the song was beautiful. No, they had really good voices. I'm not kidding. Extremely funny. Unleashed of right-wing threats and vitriol. Hey, what are the... whatever. It's the internet. If you think right-wingers give threats, you should have seen what was being posted on Trump's Twitter account. Why did Twitter ban people sending threats to Trump in order to prevent harm that could come to the president? Oh, I see. But anyway. Where's the chat? Oh, I got a super chat. Yay. From Dick Chislin. It only takes 45 flying hours to be able to pick up your helicopter flying license. 45 flying hours? That can't be true. How much is 40? Dude, that's how much it takes to learn to drive a car. $45, man. That can't be right. That can't be right. So you're telling me like you fly a helicopter for 45 hours and then you can learn how to fly it? Maybe I should learn how to fly a helicopter if it's that simple. Also, in other reactionary news, this happened in Austria. So left-wing extremists stormed the offices of the Austrian news site because it named the Afghan nationality of the 4 perpetrators in the murder and rape of a 13-year-old.
Das ist Besitzstörung! Wir haben es doch gesagt! Checkt ihr das nicht in eurer dummen Welt?
So naming, like if they wouldn't have named the nationality, would the 13-year-old be unraped? I mean, I love this outrage. I love the outrage. It's like, instead of being outraged about the crime committed, instead of blaming the criminals, you're blaming the journalists. I'm just, wow. The type of world, is it just me? Or are the priorities just a little bit backwards? No license to drive a boat? No, I'm pretty sure you need to know how to drive a boat. Because, when you get into a port... I asked, what is the hardest part of driving a boat? Apparently, the hardest part is to anchor it in the port, to park it. That is the most difficult part of having a boat. Get Sock on to translate for us? I don't even care what they're saying. But if they were Austrians, if the people doing the crime were Austrians and the media would mention it, they wouldn't give a fuck. But it, it actually upsets people even more when it's hidden, because if people want to look, they will find it. You get to see the mugshots in the trial and stuff, so you kind of figure it out, right? But most people are well, crimes happen. There isn't a place where criminality doesn't occur. So, you know, as long as the cops get it and things are normal, like, okay, fine, the system is working. But, like, the system clearly isn't working when you're threatening the journalists for doing their job. Holy fuck. Let me show you something wholesome now, alright? Because, like, I'm pretty sure a lot of you are upset. I'll show you something wholesome, a little bit of a toxic masculinity. So, apparently this is, what, in Minneapolis? Is it Minneapolis? In Michigan. Michigan, right? So, this ride, which, by the way, is something that I would like to go in, was about to tip over. And people rush it in order to try to stabilize it. I gotta say though, like, I don't know if the people on top are realizing what the fuck is going on, but if they knew, it would make the ride a little bit more interesting, like a little bit more scary, wouldn't it?
Oh my god.
I gotta say though, like, the first person that did this had ball of steel. Like, this is the hero. Like, right here, the first individual that comes out, like, this guy. This is the real hero. Because, like, when you're doing shit like this, man, if you're alone, the ride can just tip with you. Like, you can literally not get anyone else to help. And you can die, you know, you can... like, have the ride tip over and you're going to fall over, and it's... like, this guy, you know, balls of steel. Not to mention, like, he's the one that encourages others to do the same, I guess. And then you look at this guy, you know, the last guy, look at him. Like, what should I do? Fine, you know, maybe, I might as well get in the picture. Like, if the news takes a picture of this, I want to be in it. And he goes, like, calmly, I was like, okay, I'll hold on. Hold on. You'd follow that man? I would follow that man as well. You love that guy. Who doesn't love that guy? Ben Masta. Ben Masta, aren't you the guy that gave me super chats a lot time ago? Because I remember your name from somewhere, but I can't accurately place it. Always a woman saying, oh my god, fighter, and all accidents stop with stuff. People did not rush in, men rushed in. Well, that's why I said it's toxic masculinity. But like, to be honest, it's like, you don't know how, like, how many women were there in order to know if they could rush in or not. Plus, like, a man on average is probably heavier than a woman, so. Oh, you're not him. Okay, I understand. You're just around a lot. Thank you, Nick Brush. Nick Brush needs a moderator status. This week is stupid is coming tomorrow. Don't miss it. It's going to be great. Got a lot of good stuff. Speaking of, apparently Facebook, you know, you see Zuckerberg going around with his little American flag, you know, surfing. Did he hear about the concept of innocent until proven guilty, you know? And did he hear about the concept of fairness? Like, why is he banning people charged but not convicted? But only according to this crime. Like, if you're on the registry, you can still use Facebook. You don't get banned, right? So like, Zuckerberg is what? Like, he's looking at the arrest records, and he's working with the U.S. government to ban people on Facebook. Like, even if they didn't say anything, like if they didn't post anything on Facebook, that is so interesting. So Facebook has revealed that it will ban anyone who's charged with correct. And by the way, like, I'm not even in the US. Like, I'm a Romanian. But, like, to me, this looks so fucked up because it shows that Facebook is working hand in hand with the authorities and bans people even if they're not convicted. So, like, my question is like, what if they're charged but then released? So what if like someone gets charged, then goes to trial, and he gets not convicted? Does he get his account back on Facebook? Is it not a good question? So Facebook has revealed that it will ban anyone who is charged and may start fact-checking claims that the riot was staged. In an article detailing how a man who has been charged with obstructing official government proceeding and breaching blah 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 blah, Facebook says that it does not allow people charged in the insurrection on the platform. So, charged. Okay. You know, I'm also curious. Like, let me talk about something else. You got an event that a lot of people don't bring up for some reason. Do you guys remember when the U.S. president took shelter in the White House bunker because like protesters surrounded the White House? Now, I remember they were mocking the president and they were calling him bunker boy or whatnot, but it's not difficult to know. Like you can find out that it's not the call of the president to go in a bunker, it's the call of the Secret Service. Like the Secret Service from the White House is tasked with making sure that the president is safe. So they can actually overrule the president on many things. Like if they feel that the president is in danger, like they have the ability to overrule him. So they thought that the protests outside the White House were dangerous enough. They were escalating to a point where the president had to be placed in the bunker. Why is this not called an insurrection? Like, is this not similar? By the way, it was organized on Twitter. Like, I remember it was even trending. It was called the White House Siege. That's how they called it. The White House Siege. If they did it today, if protesters would do it today, do you think it would it would not warrant a little bit more, how should I say, serious handling? Give me a second while I close the window. But yeah, it's literally what Herbert Marcuse likes to call regressive tolerance. Regressive tolerance. So in other words, it's like when right-wingers do something, even if it's peaceful. So for example, you can get a couple of individuals going up and protesting the lockdowns, right? You can get like 5 or 6 of them. Oh, well, that needs to be shut down. That's a problem, treat it as serious as possible. And then when you have like left-wingers like sieging the White House, oh, that's progressive. Just ignore it. It's fine. It's not even it's okay when we do it, right? Like it's different. It's like hold your opponent to the highest imaginable standard. So create unrealistic standards for your opponent, but ignore everything that your side is doing. And like I generally try to think about this. Like why is it wrong to be hypocritical? Like why exactly is it an issue? And the way I came up with is like if you're a hypocritical person, someone like Vosh, for example, who when talking with Destiny said in a way that like he's not, like he is hypocrite, like he has no standards, he's got no morals because like he's interested in his side winning, right? So the problem with this is that if you're a person like Vosh, like sure you might get a lot of short-term wins, but you're creating the reputation of not being an honorable person. You're creating the reputation to other people that you're not trustworthy, like you lack trust. So what is the problem with lacking trust? Well, the problem with lacking trust is that there will come a time when you as a person will be questioned on something. Like people might accuse you that you did something and you're going to say, you know what, like I didn't do that. If you're a person that's very trustworthy, like for your entire career you've been honest and you've never lied, and like people know that you have a reputation of being an honest and honorable person, they will believe you. Like, I mean, it happened with me a couple of times, you know, like I've been accused of some shit on YouTube, and because like people knew that I haven't lied and I behaved myself in an honorable way throughout my entire career, like feel free to tell me a time when I didn't. People believe me. But that only works if you're an honorable person. If you're a person that constantly lies, that is like, I got no morals, I can do whatever I want, blah, blah, blah. It will work. Like, it will give you short-term gains. It will give you a lot of short-term gains. But what it will also do is it will tell people that, well, you know, like he is saying X, Y, and Z, but is he saying it because he really believes in? You know, like, for example, that's why I wouldn't debate Vosh, or I wouldn't debate a person like Sam Cedar. Like, I can't debate someone that I know I won't change their mind, because I don't even know if they believe what they're saying. Right? Like, that's the problem. Like, they might be... So, for example, let's say that I want to debate Vosh on white supremacy. And Vosh comes up and say, you know what, V, I will debate you on this. Like, I'm a firm believer. I genuinely think so. I know that Vosh isn't a white supremacist. So, debating him makes it impossible for me to change his mind, because he doesn't believe in it to begin with. Like, he claims to believe it just to debate against me, right? So if such a person exists that you know they don't believe the ideology, there is no point in debating them. Because, like, okay, what is an online debate? It's like a battle of wits, but it's also trying to see who remains calm and composed. If you generally believe in something from the bottom of your heart, then you get emotionally invested in that. If someone doesn't believe it, they're going to remain very calm. It's like, look how social justice activists behave when they're talking about Star Wars, right? Like, you have the actual fans of Star Wars that legitimately love the franchise, and they get really angry when they see someone spitting on it, because they invested, like, it reminds them of their childhood, they're very emotionally attached to it. But then you have someone that doesn't give a shit, right? Like, someone that uses Star Wars just as a vector to push their political ideology. So that person is always going to be calm. That person is always, you know, going to pretend to be rational, and is going to go like, oh my god, look at the hateful bigot. It's like, yeah, because, like, the hateful bigot is emotionally invested. Like, hate is an emotion. And they're trying to emotionally describe what they're experiencing. And you're mocking them for it because you don't really care about it. Like, for you, it's just some, I don't know, like, some childish thing, and you don't get why are so people upset because you're subverting their childish toys. Who on the left would I debate? I think Destiny is honest, to be fair. Maybe like, and by the way, like, when I say people on the left, I mean, like, individuals who I genuinely believe that they believe the thing they're saying. I don't think Vosh believes the things he's saying. I would probably debate Vadim Newquist. Like, he probably believes it. Christy Winters believes it. Kevin Logan believes it. Jimmy Dore believes it. There's a lot of people on the left that I would debate. The problem with debating nowadays is, like, I've asked myself, why was it that 5 years ago I couldn't find a single feminist, like, not one, not a single one, to come on the channel and debate with me on anything. Like, I couldn't find any. And now they're lining up. Now I would have to practice the shadow clone jutsu in order to be able to debate all the people that want. And the reason for this is simple. Is because 5 years ago you didn't have terms of service. 5 years ago you could have said anything you wanted, right? Now, well, you can't talk about certain subjects. You can't really, you can't even approach certain topics. Like, if you're a right winger, but if you're a left winger, you can go full on. So for example, let me give you an example. The Vosh versus Count Dankula debate, right? So Vosh had this tactic of, like, bothering bigger channels until they would debate him so that he can get, like, free publicity and exposure with the bigger channel. Okay. No one in the chat, including Vosh himself, thought that Count Dankula is a white nationalist. But that's why they were debating. It was, like, for Vosh to expose Count Dankula as a white nationalist. And he starts like, oh, but you said, like, so many jokes. And Count Dankula is like, yes, but they're jokes. It's like, oh, but I see so many white nationalists in our Twitter. It's like, yes, my Twitter is open to anyone. There's communists as well. The point is, like, all of the debate was more like an inquisition to try to like get Count Dankula to confess that he's a white nationalist. And the problem with this is that if you would have said yes, he would have got banned from YouTube. Why? Because YouTube bans that ideology. So Count Dankula isn't. No one believes that he is. But like, if you debate a leftist, like if Crowder would have debated Sam Cedar, who, by the way, is on record on saying that if it was up to him, he would get all the political commentaries channels banned. It wouldn't have been an honest debate about ideology. It would have been like, let me see if I can get a gotcha to expose you that you violated the terms of service. Meanwhile, left-leaning people can sing "We're coming for your children" unabated. It doesn't violate any community guidelines. Right? They can say literally whatever the fuck they want. They can be like the most radical left-leaning ideologue out there, and it's fine. So how do you want me to have a debate like this? It's not a debate. Right? It's like Big Daddy watching while I'm being accused that I may have spilled the milk this morning. It's like debate your sister with Big Daddy watching, and like sister, instead of like debating and talking with you, it's like, let's see if you did your homework. Let's see if you managed to clean up your room. Daddy, he didn't clean up his room. Punish him, Daddy. I won the debate. See, you got punished. That's really it. Thank you, Rocky. I appreciate it. The Geff. My God, when I read about the Geff, it makes me sad because I'm thinking about Mass Effect and how awesome it was. The Geff said, grabbing my great-granddad's old socket wrenches for car repair. The Made in USA label and lasting quality is a huge contrast from things I buy today. My God, they actually want to go after your right to repair. Like, this is something that's been going on, and very few people are talking about it. But the right to repair is the idea that corporations want you to not be able to repair anything you buy. So, for example, if you're buying a PlayStation, they wanted to make it illegal for repair shops to open the PlayStation because they would say that it violates their intellectual property, right? So, in other words, like, it would take the license away from those stores to repair stuff for you. So not only that, but like they would have, let's say your Xbox fan breaks, right? Well, then you need to buy a specific Xbox screwdriver in order to like undo the screws from the Xbox. And like what they're trying to do basically is that, imagine you get like a PlayStation, right? And the only way you can repair it is if you go to a PlayStation approved shop and pay outrageous prices for the repair. Right by repair is codified in the United States. Yes, I know, but like they're trying to find ways around it. Like, as I mentioned, like imagine you get a PlayStation, right? And you can't undo the screws because you need a special screwdriver that's not for sale. Like only Sony has it. That's what they're trying to accomplish. And it's not that you can't technically open it. Like you can repair it. You can open it and repair it yourself. But like you can't go to a store and do it. Because they would consider that the store is violating their intellectual property by doing that service. It's getting to the point where U.S. farmers are buying used tractors. Like they're actually going on auctions and buying old tractors because like the old tractors they can repair. The new tractors, they look like a spaceship and you have to take them to a repair shop, and it's usually like they connect the tractor to like the computer. I'm like, what the fuck do you need a computer to repair a tractor? But yeah, it's got like software and they do patch updates and stuff. And it's like a lot of farmers don't want to do the hassle because it's expensive and it's a hassle. Not to mention like a lot of people feel satisfied when something breaks and they repair it themselves. Like a lot of people like to do it themselves, but like they're moving away from that. So yeah, I mean, it's getting to the point where almost everything you buy is meant to downgrade, everything you buy is meant to get broken within 1 or 2 years. I mean, look at phones, right? Like I got my phone, this phone, I got it 2 years ago and it's already starting to not function properly. Reminds me of, what was it? It was Apple, I believe, or Samsung. I think it was Apple. Like they got into a major controversy because it was shown that the patches they would add would actually make the phone run slower. I believe that the latest iPhones have a component lock, so you can't even fix the camera by taking a working one from an iPhone. Motherfucker, like I got a crack at one point on my phone screen, and I went to the repair shop and they asked me around $100 to fix a crack. And I'm like, are you kidding? Like, why is it so expensive? It's like, oh, because we have to replace the whole thing. It's like, what do you mean you have to replace the whole thing? Yeah, because, like, the screen comes out and then they have to replace the back and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, holy shit. You know, like, think about it this way. If they genuinely wanted for you to fix it, and I'm willing to bet, like, this idea already exists, but one of these phone companies probably bought it and shelved it just so it doesn't exist on the market. You could create a smartphone just like a Lego. So it would be like a smartphone made of multiple parts that are interchangeable, like interchangeable parts, so that it's very easy to access and repair. So, oh, you need a new camera, boop, it pops up, right? And it would also allow for upgrades. Like, you want to upgrade the better camera, boop, it pops up, plonk, you plonk the better one in, right? You want, a new screen, poop, it pops up. So like, you could actually create, like, a smartphone that's like a Lego. It's like, okay, the audio doesn't work, punk. You put it out, you put a new one in. Can you imagine how hurt they would be if this invention existed? And again, like, I'm pretty sure it's already invented. Like, I'm pretty sure it's already on the market, but they just took it out because they don't want it. Like, so either Sony or iPhone, they probably bought it and then they shelved it, so no one gets to do that. Yeah, plug and play, literally. The phone exists. I didn't know it. It's basically a PC. Yeah, it's basically a PC. Like, why can't you do it if it's basically a PC? Zenith for $5 says the USA should be renamed to the United Corporations of America because of the way they are succeeding at running the United States. At this point, I would say, yeah, and it's probably been like this for a couple of decades. That cone exists. It's called Fairphone 3 Plus. I'll look into it. I never knew it existed. Like, man, I so hate it when I think, like, oh god, this is such a good idea. Like, I have such a good concept right now, and then someone else came up with it. The good thing is the market will fix the demand. Yeah, if it was a free market, but it's not. Like, especially when the market is run by two monopolies, which is Google and Samsung. But I guess, like, well, you actually have Huawei, so. Yeah. I'll look up Fairphone after the stream, I promise. Let me see if I got some other news. Most of the news that I got, I'm saving for tomorrow's Weekend Stupid. Yeah, like, this is interesting. So, this is from the UK. 8 out of England players have at least one parent or grandparent born overseas. The squad shows us what we can achieve when we welcome diversity and celebrate those we call our country home. Do they understand that the reason that a lot of people have at least one parent or grandparent born overseas, is due to the British Empire, which spanned half across the world? Like, are they aware of this fact? I mean, if you want diversity, okay, if you want a world without borders, you can restart the British Empire project. By the way, like, I noticed that now the European Union actually has Guy Verhofstadt saying that it's an empire for good. In other words, like, the way of the neo empires. Like, you don't want basically, like, people to be in charge of their own nations and have, like, a centralized system. No. It needs to be, like, multinational, and as undemocratic as possible. Yeah, literally, like, colonialism good. People are saying it's not a British team. Well, isn't what was his name? Like, Trevor Martin, I believe is called. Yeah, the comedian, saying that Africa won the World Cup when France won it, and he just didn't understand why the French people were upset about it. Like he wouldn't understand. None of the football players, like none of the French football players ever identified themselves as African. Like all of them identified as French. But then you have Trevor Noah going, Africa won the World Cup. Like, and it shows the minuscule mind of the American left. Like, Africa is not a nation. It's a continent. All right? It's like saying Europe won the World Cup. Like, I do speak with people from Africa, by the way. Like, I got a lot of subscribers. And they're really upset when someone calls it, like, Africa instead of, like, naming a nation. Like, they don't like being put in together. Because, like, just like in Europe, where you have historical grievances, so do in Africa, they have historical grievances. Like, they have borders, and they don't identify with each other. Like, for example, the Zulus are their own thing. Zimbabwe is its own thing. Botswana is its own thing. Like, they don't like being lumped up with each other. It's just like an American perspective. Yeah, anyway, right, so it's been an hour. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the segment. And if you did, I'll catch you tomorrow. This week is stupid, don't forget. Really great. I'm going to make the video on my second channel now. So I'll see you